So, I was going through my Steam library one day when I decided that instead of always trying to find a game to play, I would try and start getting achievements for them. I wanted to try and get 100% in as many games as I can. Why, you may ask? I don't know. I just kind of felt like it. So that's what led to making this video. Today we're going to try and 100% Resident Evil Village. Now, a few things you should know before getting into this video is that yes, I have played the game before, I've actually beaten the game before. However, to make this video as authentic as possible, I wiped my stats, aka my achievement progress, through Steam so that I can relive the feeling of getting each and every one. There is a catch though. Apparently, and I wouldn't know this until much later down the line, much of the progress you make in this game in terms of collectibles are tracked based on the different save files, not based on individual plays. In saying that, there are a few achievements that are going to act a little weird. First is the Bookworm achievement. This is the achievement you receive when you have read every single file in the game. There was actually only one file I was missing when I first played the game when it originally came out, so whenever I read that file during the challenge, I got the achievement. To try and stay true to the challenge, I made sure while I was playing to read every single one, even if I had already read them. The next achievement is the Heretic achievement. This is gotten when you have successfully destroyed all of the Goats of Warding, which are just little collectibles that you can shoot. All of these are typically hidden in weird spots, but because I've played the game before, I already had quite a few of them. However, just like the files, I may point out the location of each and every one of them to show you that I did in fact get it. The last one that we're going to be talking about is Squawk Shot, which requires you to shoot down 5 flying crows. It gives you the achievement only after killing one. It gives me the achievement after only killing one of them in the sky, but I kill plenty of them throughout the playthrough, so no worries there. Now that you know this, let's officially get into the challenge. Alright, let's get this started. We start out our run by choosing the easiest difficulty and then hearing the creepiest children's story.
You took, she snarled. So more in turn is due. In a blink, the girl was trapped inside a mirror.
Immediately after, we go for our first achievement of the run. Alright, let's go ahead and get our first achievement. Easy. Now that wasn't so bad. Already one down. This will be a piece of cake, right? Oh, my sweet summer child. We were far, far from what this game has to offer. Anyways, finishing our eerie tale, I harassed my wife a little bit, because what else are wives for? Yeah, my wife's not going to be too happy about that one. After loving our beloved and most dear wife, we put our baby to bed and set out for our next achievement. At least that's what I would have done if I actually read what it entailed. I spent the next 20 minutes running around trying to find out where to kick this stupid ball. Collecting a couple of files around the house, I eventually get the ball stuck in a corner by a freaking houseplant of all things. Oh no. Is it stuck there forever? Forcing me to reset. Luckily, we weren't that far in, so after putting our baby down for the night once again, I finally managed to figure out where the ball is supposed to go, netting us our second achievement. There it is. Now time to go downstairs for a lovely dinner. She took that. Oh my! I was gonna say she took that first shot like a champ. Now she's getting obliterated. After that surprise paintball fight and being politely put to bed by these men in all black, we come to the middle of a forest. Trudging through the snow, we find a nice little shack to keep us warm from the outdoors and begin to rifle through their things. Because we couldn't get enough, we go to the basement to see what they have down there before being rudely interrupted by the surprise party upstairs, only to find that they spilled way too much of the punch all over the ground for us to crawl through. Making our way outside, we quickly find out that this isn't Kansas anymore and make our way to the next house to receive our first weapon. After scaring the locals and almost getting ourselves killed, we are given the first actual weapon of the run. Take it. Take it. Witnessing our new friend get a quick ride to the attic, we receive the same treatment, but to the basement, where we discovered a secret morgue that the man was hiding under our feet. We meet his very friendly dog, who decides to take a little nibble out of our hand. Aw, look at him, so cute. Apparently he bit a little too hard and took a finger or two with him, so we decide to put him down. Nothing a few bullets to the brain won't accomplish. Realizing that aim assist is the worst thing on the planet, we turn that shit off immediately. Grabbing the bolt cutters, we make our way to the gate holding us in and teach those pesky chains who's boss. Entering the house across the way, we barricade ourselves in, because the game told us to do so, and grab a couple of nifty things, but not before the minor heart attack this guy gives us. Defeating yet another conniving canine, we learn that there are survivors at a woman's house named Louisa. Being the loot goblin that I am, I take what's rightfully mine out of this box and then enter the house for more goodies. Although doing so, a whole pack of friends decide to attack us. Luckily for us, a perfect euthanasia device lies on the table for us. Trying to conserve ammo, we barricade ourselves in another home and lure as many of them as we can to take full advantage of an exploding barrel near us, netting us the next achievement. Taking an arrow to the knee, we get surrounded with nowhere to run, and just to add insult to injury, one of the village guests decides to relocate me slightly further away. This is where we meet the big bad wolf himself, Urias. He tries to intimidate me, but my raw sexual energy is just too much for him to handle. And he, along with his friends, scurries off back to his den. After wiping the piss off my legs, I stand prouder than ever and get our next achievement. Yeah, so apparently they're called lichens, but friends works too. After encountering what I imagine the average Overwatch player's mom looks like, we gain access to probably the most useful thing thus far for the rest of the first playthrough, the map. Seriously, this thing is going to be essential to us as it tells us exactly what we're missing in certain places, and it'll let us know when we've gotten everything out of a said location. We find the location of our first goat of warding, however at this point I'm not yet aware of the fact that these can be collected over multiple save files. I mean, it looks like somebody else already fucking broke it, there's nothing there. Making our way into a nearby church, we find a couple of useful items, including a crystal fragment which can be sold for a decent amount of money, something that we are definitely going to be needing a lot of. Next is our first key item for getting into the next area of the map, the Maiden Crest. Thankfully, someone left us a map in perfect condition, letting us know that the second crest we need is at Louisa's house, where we were already heading. Making our way over to Louisa's house, we find Mia 2.0 and her father who appears to be badly wounded. They let us know that we need to open the gate to get into this house, so climbing out a window and over a small opening in the wall, we managed to get them to safety. Receiving a very warm welcome from the locals, we gain access to Louisa's house, where we find the average stepdad and... oh my god, that guy's going batshit crazy. Forcing Mia 2.0 to shoot her own father, we need to get out of the house that is now engulfed in fire. And you know what else would be fire? If you subscribe to the channel. This would really help me out, and it's an easy way to show me that you like the content I put out. I have plenty of other games that I want 100%, so expect more videos in the future. So just go down there and hit that little red button. You can always unsubscribe later if you want, but I don't recommend it. Anyways, thanks, and back to the video. Acting like I just finished downing a bottle of Fireball, I immediately grab the truck keys, which promptly leads me to driving through a brick wall. Hey, don't blame the drunk drivers, blame the drunk crashers. Anyways, after making our way upstairs, we say goodbye to Mia 2.0 as I'm just too hot for her. You see what I did there? Before leaving Louisa's house, we make sure to grab the Demon Crest and witness the average life of a short king with his date. We take our two crests to the strange stone door, rotating them to match the pictures, and continue on into this room where we meet Budget Magneto. Apparently they paid him enough to knock me out and tie me up though. Waking up and meeting the rest of these rowdy ruffians in the form of a doll, a Discord moderator, Crow Lady, and... oh god, sit on me. Sorry, I almost lost my cool a bit there. Anyways, they agree to let Heisenberg handle me, and he makes the dumb decision of giving me the chance to run away. Making my way through what is literally just a straight path with spikes that almost turned me into fresh American ground beef, we continue as normal through the door we already tried going through before being rudely interrupted. After breathing in the fresh air of freedom, we get our next 2 achievements in the form of killing a few birds. Further up the path, we meet the man that is almost as big as your mom. But seriously though, this is going to be the most important character of the entire playthrough. This is Duke, a merchant. Although we don't really care what he's selling, except for some crafting recipes and inventory upgrades, he also comes equipped with the ability to upgrade our weapons. This is going to be crucial going forward. Oh, and also we get another achievement just from buying something from him. Entering the castle, we steal a few items before encountering these absolute baddies, bro. I mean, god damn. Treating me rough just the way I like it, they bring me to the next room where we meet Mommy D. Lady Dimitrescu again. But honestly, just look at the huge personality of this woman. After getting down in the most painful way possible, then applying the magic juice to our wounds, we make our way out to find a ring with a maroon eye on it. Making our way back out to where we were whisked away, we meet up with the Duke once again, who tells us that our daughter Rose is most likely being kept in Lady D's private chamber. I'll show her a private chamber if you know what I mean. Sorry, I'll stop with the jokes. With our newly acquired information, we head upstairs and insert the maroon eye into this door, starting a chase scene with one of the goth glories, which leads us to falling all the way down to the basement of this place. Sneaking our way through, we solve a simple fire puzzle and begin moving through the dungeons. After discovering a few League of Legends players that never leave their parents' basements, we enter our first boss fight. It's a fairly easy fight, only taking a few blasts to the face. Ooh, I really wanted to make a joke there, but I said I would stop. Anyways, first boss down, or mini-boss, rather. After taking her down, we enter the next room and get us a very ornate bottle of wine. We also get the bookworm achievement here, but like I said at the beginning, I will be reading every file in the game anyways, just to make it authentic. Right outside this room, we add another achievement to our list by customizing our Lemmy with the recoil compensator, increasing our damage output. We managed to get another 2 achievements by lockpicking a drawer and then crafting an item in our crafting menu. Man, we're on a roll right now. Taking our lovely wine bottle upstairs to the wine room, yes, it's literally called that. We open up a secret door and get the courtyard key. When we attempt to make our way to the courtyard though, we are stopped by one of the goth sisters. But we just run around in a circle until we just end up back at the door we needed to be at. Now that we have access to the courtyard, we start making our way to Lady D's chambers, but it's locked, and we don't have the key yet. So instead, we solve another puzzle in the form of making statues face a certain way and make our way down the newly discovered staircase. We make our way down to the distillery, grab a bunch of useful items, and defeat as many League players as we can before taking a lift up to the upper balconies. We eavesdrop on a conversation from Lady D talking to Mother Miranda, Crow Lady, saying that I escaped Heisenberg and that there is a sort of ceremony happening. We enter her chambers, and with our eyes filled with tears that our daughter isn't there, we take a key instead. We don't get very far though, as soon as we use it, Lady D comes through the door to show us just how rough she can be, sending us all the way back down to the dungeons. We open a couple of gates, but not before Lady D rids us of our right hand. That's gonna need some icy hot. And man, that's my dominant hand. How am I supposed to... never mind. After running absolute circles around this girl, we take our hand back and find our first mask and make our way up to the surface. But not before using some more magic juice and just slapping my hand back on like it's some fucking Flex Seal. God, Phil would be so proud. We use our new key to gain access to the opera hall where we play some piano for a music puzzle that I clearly don't understand, and then get another key, the Iron Insignia key. We kindly let the Duke know about our findings, or lack thereof, and decide that we should just get out of this castle. We make our way to the Hall of Pleasure next, once again, yes, that is its name, and get the second mask. However, taking the mask locks us in, and it's time for the next mini-boss fight. This one goes the same way, except we have to blow a hole in the wall to make her vulnerable to our attacks, then put her down like her sister. After putting a skull on the statue in place of the mask, we make our escape. After tying up some loose ends, searching for various treasures, we go back to the Opera Hall to get in the library for the third and final sister battle. All we need to do is make sure to keep pulling this lever and pump lead into her, taking the third and final sister down for good. We collect our third mask and solve another puzzle that just involves us shooting 5 different bells scattered around this room, and open up a secret passage behind a giant portrait leading to the rooftops. Up here we find probably the weapon that I will be using for just about the rest of this playthrough, the sniper rifle. With good range and excellent damage, nothing can stand in our way now. We also managed to get another achievement from sniping something from far away. While on the roof, we managed to get to the fourth and final mask that we need to gain access to the last area of the castle. After selling our valuables and upgrading our rifle a bunch, we clean up the rest of the castle by getting everything not nailed down and make our way to the actual boss fight. We make our way up these stairs into a strange room consisting of a single coffin on the other side. Opening the coffin, we find a very intricate dagger. Apparently this is the secret weapon we were looking for in order to take down Lady D. As soon as we get our grubby paws on it though, she comes up behind us, forcing us to stab her with it immediately. It very quickly starts to take effect and... Oh! Ew! I don't know what I ever saw in her, honestly. She gives us a free flight up to the tower where we can start the final boss fight of the castle. Shit. With her health down to a certain threshold, she goes into her next phase, taking us further up the tower. With many shotgun and rifle rounds exhausted, we finally take her down, both in life and in location. Anyways, with Lady D out of the way, we collect this strange yellow jar and finally make our way out of the castle. Nice! We're out of the castle in only 20 minutes into the video. Although if you look at the full length of this video, you'll know that we still have plenty to do. So, let's get to work! Now that we're out, we shoot this lock off the door and enter this room with a small puddle of fish. How the hell did they even get here in the first place? Like, there's no reason fish should be able to survive. Anyways, since I knew there was no way for these fish to survive in this, I put them out of their misery and take their meat for later use. Walking a bit further, we hear some strange chanting and decide to interrupt. The source of the chanting was actually coming from the old woman we had found earlier, who gives us some stupid-ass riddles and some obvious information about them. What? That is exactly how riddles work, what do you mean? But that's not what we're here for. We steal the key that she literally just put in the chest directly in front of us. Yeah, I don't know. I guess she wasn't expecting us to just immediately steal it, but oh well. Yeah, so we take the key, and we find a strange altar that we wouldn't return to until much later, and make our way in an open area where the Duke gives us some interesting information. Yeah, so apparently this flask has our daughter's head in it. Also, something about her essence is still intact. You know, I might not be the smartest, but losing your head might, and I'm just speculating here, might mean that you're dead? Nah, just a thought. Anyways, he also mentioned that she has powers of some kind. Anyways, taking the Duke's advice, we begin searching for the house with the red chimney. We search the village, taking everything in sight and out of sight. No stone unturned. Well, okay, except for that one. Yeah, okay, I left that one stone unturned, but you know what? I don't even care. I mean, do you see all of the rocks in this area? It's insane. Okay, maybe I regret it a little bit. Okay, a lot of it, but we march on. Luckily, one rock we checked under was one that held not only a jack handle to get to the red chimney house, but a new weapon for us. This will definitely be replacing the Lemmy. After using the jack handle on, well, the jack, we assert our food chain dominance on some chickens. With access to the chimney with the red house... What? The house with the red chimney. I'm not sure why I wrote it like that. Anyways, with access to this house, we let the guard on duty know that we're taking over and steal the key while he takes a nap. Returning to the Duke, he tells us that we need to go and visit the other lords and ask them politely for their flasks so that I can put my daughter back together like a freaking Bionicle, I guess, with Mother Miranda being at the top of all of them. Using the meat we collected, we get Chef Gusteau to make us some dishes that for some reason make my whole body tingle, allowing me to move faster. Don't ask me how it works, I just can. Now on to the doll master, Donna Beneviento. While on the way, we see Mia, alive and well. Oh my god, Mia, you're alive. I thought I had lost you. What happened? Hey, Mia, we got separated. What happened to you? Alright, bitch. We head a little further until we reach a very large grave site. Mia pissed me off enough to throw away a picture I had of her, and lucky for me, it opened a door. Taking an elevator up to a very precariously built house on the edge of a cliff, not sure what the contractors were thinking here, we enter the house where for some reason the sounds of the waterfall aren't even heard. Damn, we've got some great insulation in here. Since the mortgage rates were a little too high, I didn't look around for long and was honestly thinking about leaving the open house before I found an interesting elevator. Not a great selling point in my opinion, but curiosity got the best of me, so I went down. Walking down an annoyingly long hallway, like seriously, who built this? We enter a semi-open room with a doll sitting on a chair. Nearly buckling at the knees, we notice the doll holding another piece of rose. But before we can snatch it, the lights go out, and I get some unwanted hands to start going through my pants. Okay, maybe not unwanted, but when the lights came back on, I was left with nothing in my inventory, and a small case of blue balls. On the table in front of us, there was a doll that looks almost exactly like Mia. With hate still in our heart from her ignoring us, we do what any sane person would do and begin to rip the limbs off. We find some interesting bones on the inside and realize that this is a puzzle we're supposed to solve. Removing a ring from the finger, we wash it off to find a date on there that I definitely don't remember what it's for, and enter it on the padlock to the door out of here. With the supernatural forces of this house helping me out, we enter a room with a music box. This one is simple though, as I don't need to know anything about music, just match the scratches on it and it gives us some tweezers. With these, we can yank some film out of the doll's mouth and take it to this room to watch a relatively short movie. Honestly, 0 out of 10. Terrible movie, but I'm sure that's at least an 8 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes. Walking around the corner, we see a little boy playing with scissors, which we confiscate for ourselves, but not before scolding him for having them. Before we can make it back to the doll, we get an interesting phone call.
Please, Ethan.
Nope. We cut the bandages off the doll, perform a mastectomy, and head to this room that clearly needs an electrician to check it out. I mean, look how dark it is in here. We make our way down, rub some lotion on her skin, and head back to the main room. Here we meet the average Anime Expo consumer. They try telling me to watch One Piece, but I run before they can get the
Bro, I
chance.
swear it gets good after 700 episodes.
No way am I watching 1,000+ episodes. It was now our goal to avoid them at all cost, but luckily, their stench fills the whole building, so if they're close, I'll smell them. We open a breaker box to find a statue and take that to a door. Heading to the main bedroom, we take the fuse and power goes out. I mean, it makes sense, I guess. We try to leave, but we get cornered.
Come on, Nami has such massive knockers.
With nowhere to run, we decide to hide in the most conspicuous spot, but luckily, there's an even more conspicuous locker in the room, and we slip out before it can notice us. Finally out of that place, now to get my stuff back. We head back out to the living room, only to find out that the same doll from earlier is a Fate fan. Oh god. And they're gonna force me to watch all of them, unless I can beat her in a game of hide and seek? Oh yeah. All that training I did as a kid's about to pay off. Bring it on. We find her fairly easy, and she tries to give me a lore dump immediately, so we jam these scissors into her skull to shut her up. It wasn't enough though, as we need to find her 2 more times. Luckily, it's just as easy the next 2 times, and we save ourselves from the existential torture of learning about the Fate universe. We get our achievement, another part for the key, and most importantly, this doll that we can sell. Oh, well, and another part of our daughter, I guess. With our gear now back in our hands, we head out of the area and collect another new weapon, the W870 Tax Shotgun. Apparently while we were gone, some green goo has taken over the village. Making our way in, a large dog makes our insides outsides, so we put him down and make our way to another new weapon, the grenade launcher. This ends up not being nearly as useful this playthrough as it does the next one though. Cutting through the goo, because apparently that works, we make our way to kill our next meal and head down into this mill. We head down a lift in the mill and meet this little goober. Oh, a sick little goober? God damn! After politely asking him for the flask, he agrees to let us take it, but right after he tries to trap me in, that lying little nutsack. I'll fillet him if it's the last thing I do, but first, I gotta get out of here. I begin to head out and follow a side path that at first I thought was optional, but turns out I needed to go down it anyways to get a boat key. Since I got out of the way, I head down the actual path and hop in the boat, crank it up, and see something horrifying. Okay, it was a little freaky when I first saw it, but looking back, I guess not. Anyways, we continue on where we find a tent with a lot of computers and research stuff in. Turns out Chris is here, learning everything about what's going on. I let Chris know that I understand why he shot my wife because she was rude to me too, so no hard feelings. We go in for a hug but are rudely interrupted by a giant fish. Chris pushes me out of the way, sacrificing himself for me. I couldn't believe it. I'll never forget you, Chris. We carry on, trying not to reminisce on the memories we shared with him, and find that the entire area is now flooded, that the only way to lower the water is to restore power to the water drainage place. I'm not actually sure what it's called. Right outside, we get our next achievement for searching through people's shit. Literally. We kill a couple chickens and pop a goat of warding that we missed from the last time I played. I tried turning this crank, but it breaks as soon as we touch it, forcing us to head to the other mill to steal the extra one from there. As we head over there, we encounter big fish again, run over some rooftops of sunken houses, solve a couple puzzles with levers, and make it to the next mill. We crank that shit, and take this very convenient zip line, almost becoming lunch for Fishy. Now that we have the crank, we restore power to the drain, solve a simple puzzle by turning our necks 90 degrees, and drain the water. Apparently Moreau was having second thoughts about giving me the flask and tells me that he wants it back. I told him I'll have to take it from my cold and slightly slimy hands if he wanted it back. It wasn't much of a fight. I just used a shit ton of grenades and took him out with no issues. Woo! Another achievement. Carrying on, we enter a small room with the next part to our key, and the TV turns on and starts to talk to us. Tells us that we can have the final flask if we just go to the stronghold. Before heading that way, we take a slight detour for some fishing and to get a new weapon, the Wolfsbane. This baby packs a punch, taking out one of the big dogs from earlier in just a single shot. A great addition to our collection. After using the crank on everything that requires it, I head straight to the stronghold where a bunch of our Lycan friends are waiting for us. They try the same tactic of shooting me with their flaming arrows, but I was ready for it this time. I knocked one clean out of the sky as it approached, sending a chill down their spines, and an achievement to my Steam account. I make my way through the stronghold, euthanizing all these rabid canines, at least that's what I'm telling myself, and enter a large room. Surely this is where the flask is. Before I can get my hands on it though, Urias makes his appearance again, and I can't help but curse that TV for trying to act all nice. This fight goes just as smoothly as the Moreau fight, except this time we just use the new Wolfsbane to kill the giant wolf. Oh! That's why it was named that. Who would have guessed? With a final shot, the wolf is baned and another achievement is claimed. Wow, that was super fucking lame. Anyways, I continue down the path, collect my final flask, and the TV begins to talk to me again and tells me to insert my flask into the altar back where the Duke is. Complying with it, I head back to do just that. Doing so releases this big-ass stone chalice that I just stuff in my back pocket, I guess. We place the chalice further up where we exited the castle, get an achievement, and go down an elevator leading to Heisenberg's factory. I go to the factory, speak with Heisenberg, call him a poopy head, get sent down a grate starting a chase scene with Stern, and then we slide down a chute, shattering our kneecaps on a very rough landing. Next, we make our way up a ladder and into the main area. Wanting to take out my frustrations, I shoot a guy off this hook, getting an achievement of course, and then head into the foundry. I go down one of the beaten paths, aka the only one available to me, where a relief mold is waiting for me at the end. When I try to exit, we're attacked by what looks like Iron Man and Voldemort had a child and take him out by shooting his very obvious weak spot. I forge the relief, put it into one of the other paths, which leads us all the way to a cog mold, so back to the foundry we go. I make the cog, insert it into this little machine, continue down the path, and get chased by Stern once again, so I just slam a door in his face and he stops. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I got lost going through this place so many times. I mean, I have a map, but for some reason I could just never figure out where I was or where to go. But anyways, you don't have to deal with that because of the power of editing. I head into the area that is just one big Minecraft reference and exit out of this grate. It leads us to this giant fan where we have to turn it off by shooting these lights while also fighting some jetpack soldats. That's what these guys are called, by the way. After climbing up a ladder, we run into another fan that sucks me way better than your mom does, before shutting it off by shooting the same red light. This leads me back to the next room, which has the key mold. Great. Back to the foundry. If I could fucking find it, god damn, dude, I got so lost trying to find this place. I even opened a fucking door at one point, killing a soldat, and I guess I just didn't realize that that was the room I needed to be in. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the length of this factory section was longer than any other part of this challenge. Anyways, rant over. I finally make my way into the foundry yet again, where I make the key and head all the way back up to unlock this door. On the other side of the door, we meet Stern for the final time, hence boss fight, before promptly taking him out by shooting his weak point on his back by baiting out his attacks. Now that he's dead, we can finally get out of this place. Oh, what the f- Here we go again. I make my way through the darkest part of this area, doubting I'll ever escape, before my saving grace, my guardian angel, shows up to help me. It's Chris! Oh, my sweet baby Chris, he's still alive! We catch up on what he missed out on, and he tells me that I can use this tank that's just chilling down here, and it just so happens that it's made out of a material that Heisenberg can't control. We also learn that Miranda was pretending to be Mia the whole time, and she even pretended being a corpse just to lead us all here. But that's not as important. We take Chris up on his offer by hopping in the tank and taking a lift all the way up to start the fight with Heisenberg. This fight's pretty cut and dry as well. Just make sure to keep shooting his weak points, aka the red spots, and then shoot the cannon as soon as he gets too close. Also, I guess him being able to control this was a fucking lie, but I digress. We take one final shot into his back and secure another achievement. Soaking in the victory, we encounter Miranda again. She basically just confirms that she was Mia, as well as the old hag apparently, and tells us just how important Rose is for this ceremony. I tell her she's a loony bitch and that we are gonna stop her and get my daughter back. Oh, okay. Never mind, I guess. With Ethan now heartless, literally, I am now able to play as Chris. Upon entering the village for the final time, we receive another achievement called Mathematician for discovering every location in the game, and then make our way down into the village to destroy the Megamycete, which is the weird, moldy, black stuff. I enter the large open area where with 3 shots from our laser, it allows us to go further underground. Apparently Urias didn't die, or did die and is now revived or something? I don't know. Anyways, we have to fight Urias again, but this time as Chris, where we can just blow him up. I walk a little further and get another achievement for finding the Megamycete, and then enter Miranda's lab. I read an insane amount of lore in this room. I believe this is the final location for files, so I just make sure to read everything before opening this prison cell. Yeah, so Mia was actually being kept a prisoner down here for however long, so I rescued her. Back to Ethan, because psych bitch, he's not dead. We learn that Ethan can't die normally, because apparently back in Resident Evil 7, he actually died to Jack and has been infected with the Megamycete. Huh, so that's why his hand was able to just go back on. I wake up in the back of Duke's carriage, where he tells me that he's already on his way to Miranda, so that I can do the final battle with her. I make my way up to where Miranda is and start the fight. This fight's relatively easy, just with multiple phases. I just kind of shot every ounce of ammo I had, starting with the strongest first, until she stopped moving. After killing Miranda, I finally get my daughter back, but not for long, as the only way to put an end to this is to blow up the Megamycete, which would kill me as well. I make the ultimate sacrifice and finally beat RE8. Oh wait, hang on, a cutscene.
Hey, Dad. Happy birthday.
Aw, how sweet. Now I finally beat Resident Evil 8. Well, for the first time. We're awarded with 2 achievements, one for beating it on casual and one for beating it while using 4 or less health items. I'm glad I already got that one because I totally forgot that that one even existed. With the game beaten, it's now time to start picking up all the other achievements I'm missing. One thing to know about getting achievements is that you unlock these things called challenge points, or CP for short. With these points, we can unlock a bunch of useful things, including infinite ammo for any gun that we're able to fully upgrade in any playthrough. I will be taking full advantage of this to make the next achievements much easier to get. With that said, it's time to start the Village of Shadows playthrough. Now, if you or anyone you know has played Village of Shadows difficulty, it sucks. This is honestly by far one of the hardest difficulties I've ever experienced. Enemies have a shit ton of health and are significantly more aggressive. Your weapons seem like they do jack shit. You're basically dead if you take a single attack. And to top it all off, they add enemies in random locations that make boss fights and chase scenes much harder to get past. With all of that said, if you still think it's a bitch move to use unlimited ammo, then I guess I'm just a big stinky loser. But since I'm just trying to get all the achievements, I'm allowing this in the 100% since it's already a challenge in itself. Now the beginning of this playthrough can be described in just 3 words. Grenade launcher. With unlimited ammo unlocked for the grenade launcher, I unleashed my inner Oppenheimer and blow up everything in sight. Since I've already gone through the entire game before, I'm not going to bore you with all of it again. During this run, I show all the locations of the Goats of Warding, as well as get a couple of achievements I was missing. The main goal for this run is to get enough money to fully upgrade the Wolfsbane in order to unlock the unlimited ammo for it. Now once we do that, we can easily defeat just about every enemy in the game. I'm not going to waste your time with too much of the game you've already seen at this point, since the video is already long enough. So I'm going to move through it pretty quickly, showing off the locations of the Goats of Warding, and also giving updates for any new achievements I encounter along the way. The first Goat of Warding is in this little shrine that I showed a while back, however, I already got it, so let's move on to the castle. Of course, we stopped by Luiza's house to say hello and watch Mia 2.0 die again. Next Goat of Warding is by a human scarecrow in the snow, which I didn't have already, so there you go. I make my way through the castle just like before, making sure to take out one of the sisters, stopping in the distillery for a Goat of Warding, killing another sister, and followed by another goat, which is in the attic by the ladder. Now after that goat, there's no more for the rest of the castle, so I take down the last sister and beeline it for the final boss fight, defeating Lady D once again, but this time with the Wolfsbane, as I was able to get the unlimited ammo for it by fully upgrading it. Exiting the castle, the next goat location's in a small stone building by the water, which I already collected previously. The next one sits on top of the church, followed by one in the graveyard, which both I already had. Another sits on some shingles by one of the houses. Once again, already had it, but here's where it was supposed to be. There's only 2 goats near the dollhouse, one sitting outside of the house on a ledge, and then another after we even leave the place. So I let out my inner speedrunner, getting through the entire scary section in a very short amount of time. On the way out, we collect, or should I say would have collected, another goat on the bridge off to the side, but I had already gotten it. Next is obviously Fish Place, where we encounter the same jump scare. Ha! Not gonna get me this time, I'm not scared of you anymore. While running on the rooftops, I spot another goat on top of a beam. I take down Moreau once again. Also, there was another goat here, but I guess I got it in another playthrough because I completely passed it up while playing, but still got the achievement in the end anyways, so oh well. There's another goat at Otto's Mill, but I knew I had already gotten it, so I passed that one up as well. Heading straight into the stronghold, there's only one goat here, sitting by a bucket right before the Urias fight. I finish him off pretty easily. Now that he's dead, it's time for the factory, which has a total of 3 goats. First one's on a ledge next to where the big fan tries to suck you in. Another is on the side of the elevator shaft as you're going up or down. The last is on top of a barrel in some secret area behind a grate that you have to crawl through. With those collected, I take down Heisenberg once again and enter the hardest part of the Village of Shadows run. Playing as Chris on a normal difficulty makes you feel very overpowered, but on Village of Shadows, I felt way weaker since I didn't have the Magnum. The Urias fight was honestly the hardest part of the 3 times I needed to beat this game. After looking back at the footage, I apparently only died twice to him, but it seemed like it was way more at the time. Not only did it take a very long time to kill him, but there were very limited healing items going into the fight. If I took more than a single hit, I was basically dead. Luckily, 3rd time's a charm, so taking him out leads us to the final goat of warding. Near the Megamycete, there's a statue off to the right that holds the final goat, netting us the Heretic achievement. Of course, we switch back to Ethan for the Miranda fight, but it was very easy with the Magnum in hand. I did almost die right at the end, but one final shot took her down before I needed to heal, finishing off the game on the hardest difficulty. This nets us not only the achievement for beating it on Village of Shadows, but also for Standard and Hardcore as well. We also managed to beat the game in under 3 hours, getting us the achievement for Dashing Dad. After beating the game again, I went to the challenge shop and purchased all the models in order to get the Doll Collector achievement. Getting right into it, I started the next playthrough, which will be the knife-only run for the Knives Out achievement. The starting knife is not really the strongest thing ever, but luckily we're able to go on just playing on the casual difficulty. Once the merchant's unlocked, we get a couple of achievements from him in the form of collecting all crafting recipes, which apparently requires you to own certain weapons, because you don't actually unlock the ability to buy the recipe for their ammunition unless if you own that weapon. So that was interesting. Followed by the achievement for crafting every available item in the game. Next is the Veteran Gunsmith achievement for customizing all weapons, and then also the Lucky Number 7 achievement, which you just have to have all 7s in the amount of money that you have. We also make sure to purchase the Karambit knife from him, as this will increase our damage with knives by a lot. Of course, we make our way through the castle again, defeating all the sisters, but also making sure to break every single window so we can get the Hooligan achievement. I honestly fully forgot about this achievement going into it, and I was a little worried that I would have to play the game again because some of the windows require you to shoot them. Luckily for me, shooting the windows doesn't count against you for the achievement, so no worries. I would show you some of the knife fights for this playthrough, however, it was very close quarters for the entirety of the combat of this playthrough. I wasn't able to see very much while swinging away, so I know you wouldn't be able to either. I defeat Lady D for the final time before heading to the dollhouse. Absolutely nothing changes about this section, so it's not even worth mentioning. I head to Moreau, take him down, and head straight for the stronghold to fight Urias once again. Finishing him off, we head to the factory to take out Heisenberg next. Now, you might ask yourself, well, what about the tank? How can you do only knife if you're in the tank? Shut up. It doesn't include the tank in the achievement, so it doesn't count. The only change to this fight is that for the section you're knocked out of the tank, you have to run up to him and just keep swinging. Now that he's out of the way, onto the Chris section. Nothing to see here really until the Urias 2 fight. Although it wasn't really a hard fight, it just took about 10 straight minutes of just swinging at his ankles until he finally went down. We take our knife skills to Miranda now, taking her out and officially getting our knife-only achievement.
Let's fucking go.
Feeling a bit tired of playing the story, and also since I was now done with it, it's time to move on to the hardest part of the entire 100% challenge. Mercenaries. Mercenaries is a kind of arcade minigame that you can play that basically just sends a certain number of enemies at you and you have to kill them with limited ammo while also obtaining abilities while you play each stage. You earn points as you kill them and you get multipliers by having a combo, which is going to be important. What makes this the hardest part of the whole challenge is that you have to get an S rank on every single stage. In most cases, that means you need to have a full combo when playing, forcing you to think about your kills instead of just running in and killing everything as soon as you see it. Some of the enemies spawn far away from where you last killed someone, and then the next set won't even spawn in until you defeat the wave before it. With that said, I got stuck a few times when going to the harder stages. Enemies had way too much health, I'd run out of ammo a lot. It starts to throw bosses at you as you get further, and the stages get way harder to follow the further you get in. I'm talking about U Factory. I originally started out playing as Ethan because I wasn't sure if playing as Chris would count, but I came to find out that it didn't matter who you played as, just so long as you get the S rank. I got a couple S's with Ethan, then switched to Chris, making it way easier for the first main stages. With the normal difficulty stages out of the way, it was time to do the hard versions of them. I tried playing as Chris as first and was still getting my booty hole 8, so I eventually caved in and just started watching tutorials on how to get S ranks on the hard ones. Although it seemed like using Chris would make the most sense, the videos I watched only used Ethan, so I just kind of followed along with it. Even with the tutorials at my disposal, getting the S rank was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. There were so many retries and so many rage quits throughout trying to get the S ranks. In the end, what I managed to get out of this was that all I needed to do was follow the videos by sections and go at it from there. I made many mistakes that weren't in the videos, but they also made mistakes that I didn't. I ended up actually getting a higher score than the videos I was watching in some of the stages. Also, this was an area that taught me a lot about how to route my way through the factory. I actually learned like the entire map of the factory just by playing Mercenaries. Like, it's actually insane. I honestly don't think I'll ever get lost in the factory again, because having to play Mercenaries, they throw random enemies in areas that are like completely hidden and just off the wall, just areas. I honestly feel like I have so much knowledge now of how to route my way around the factory that if I ever do play this game again, I will never have an issue getting lost and never finding that damn foundry area again. Anyways, with 9.5 hours total just for Mercenaries, I managed to get all the achievements connected with it. This includes getting a combo of 30, which honestly is the easiest one since they throw so many enemies at you later on. I also got one for completing Bloody River and Additional Orders, which is just literally one of the stages. You don't have to get a certain rank, you just have to beat it. Then finally, I got the achievement for getting an S rank in all required stages. It was now time for the final part of the entire challenge, the Shadows of Rose DLC. There are only a total of 5 achievements for this DLC, so I'll go through them pretty quickly. I started the DLC on the easiest difficulty, since for this one, I had actually never played before this recording. This story takes place before the cutscene at the end of the base game. Basically, I have these powers, hence the whole reason Miranda wanted me in the first place, which makes me seem like a freak to normal people. Some guy tells me that I can get rid of my powers completely, but I have to enter the consciousness of this Megamycete in order to find it. I enter the Megamycete and find myself in a dungeon. After locating a key to unlock the cell, I find someone who was locked in. And not just any someone, it was me. Or at least, a copy of me? Anyways, she helps me escape, but at the cost of her own life. After being completely surrounded and nowhere to run, a golden light comes to my rescue and helps me escape the monsters now following me. After refusing to tell me who they really are, other than what I can clearly tell is an alias of Michael, he tells me that I need to get out of here. Since I'm stubborn as hell and won't take no for an answer, I tell him I'm here for the crystal and continue on. I make my way through what is literally just the castle from the base game, where I learned that a masked man, who totally isn't the Duke, is trying to catch me. I apparently need to collect 3 different masks to put on this statue in the main hall to get the purifying crystal. He gives me a gun that I can use, because I guess he can do that. I collect the bolt cutters in the kitchen, but before I can use them to get out into the courtyard, Michael helps me out by giving me some ammo. He does this multiple times throughout the run, so thanks, Mystery Man. I get out to the courtyard where I can find the first mask, but it's stuck, and I have to destroy a core with my powers. Michael tells me that I have to find an amplifier to strengthen my powers in order to destroy it though. After making my way through the library, I end up going into the attic to find the first amplifier. With this, I can now take out cores, allowing me to collect the first mask. It also allows me to traverse more locations in the castle. I make my way upstairs toward where the Hall of Pleasure was in the base game, being chased by a much bigger monster that I'm definitely not able to kill at this point. In this room, I managed to get another amplifier, allowing me to use my powers on enemies, which stuns them for a short amount of time. Once leaving, I get the first achievement of the DLC for using Rose's abilities 20 times, and then I get the Monocular Key. With this key, I can now get into the Gallery of Despair, as the game calls it, leading me down to the distillery after solving a puzzle. I encounter the big monster yet again, but I just run past him, get the silver mask, and then make my way out. I collected a painting that I can take to the art room and solve a puzzle and get the triocular key. This gives me access to the shotgun as well as the opera room, which is full of this mold stuff. I have to break multiple cores in this room in order to drop items from the ceiling to walk across, which on the other side is the gold mask. I also managed to get the next achievement in this room by crafting all of the items in the DLC. Once collecting the golden mask, I get grabbed by the big man himself and wake up at a locked cage surrounded by cores. The mold is slowly growing in the room and I have to destroy the correct ones in order to get out. After a couple of tries and trying to decipher Michael's horrible directions, I destroy the ones trapping me in here and escape, allowing me to put the gold mask on the statue and obtaining the crystal. Or at least I thought. The crystal ended up being a fake and I get taken, yet again, to the dungeon to fight the big guy. He has a very obvious weak spot that I can shoot until he goes down, but it isn't over. I have to take down 2 more of these guys. After taking both of them down, the Duke gets angry and sends a ton of guys at me, forcing me to jump down a hole that leads further into this Megamycete place. This leads me to the dollhouse section, where I get a very creepy welcoming party. I find the crystal stuck in a cage, but get stopped by the lights turning off again and lead into an escape room. I collect the scissors by typing out a code on a combination lock and use them to cut open this monkey on the table, getting the relief of a child. Once doing so, the table changes, forcing me to find these dolls scattered around the house. Basically, it's just a bunch of scenes that I have to act out where Rose is being bullied by some kids that she knows in real life. After collecting all the dolls and putting them in the correct positions, we get the breaker box key. Opening up the breaker box, we get a map that leads to the main bedroom, except this time instead of being chased by Anime Expo consumers, I'm chased by Mia dolls that freeze in place if you look at them. Taking the fuse and carefully maneuvering my way around these dolls, I take the elevator up. I enter this area where I'm now super small and have to make my way through this area without being caught. It's relatively simple to get through here, as all you have to do is stay out of their sight lines. Making my way through, staying hidden, taking down some Sclerotia, and dodging a giant Mia doll that shows up, I make my way to the main bedroom once again. Man, they really like sending you to this room. After getting to the room, literally nothing happens. It just sends you back the way you came. Like, what did I even do this for anyways? Michael shows up at some point and saves us from being taken by the Mia doll. He takes me to a safe place, which is our house. Also, if you haven't figured it out by now, Michael is very clearly Ethan. If you hadn't figured it out, then this entire section basically just confirms it for you anyways. After reminiscing on some memories about our dad, we go to the study to read a very sad letter from Ethan that was delivered to Rose. Before I get the chance to fully soak in what he wanted to tell me, Evelyn shows up. Yeah, Evelyn from RE7 just shows up and takes me back to the dollhouse to do yet another chase scene. I managed to get back to the main room where I do a little boss fight with her. Basically all I have to do is dodge her abilities and then use my own against her until using the power of friendship or something with Ethan to stop her for good. Although it didn't actually stop her for good, as Evelyn does one final attack to try and take us out, but Ethan comes out in the flesh, or memory flesh, I guess, to push me out of the way. I think this was supposed to be like a situation where he seemed like he sacrificed himself for us, but we just kind of meet him shortly after this anyways. Also, Rose pretty much figures out that this was her dad at this point, so not much of a secret anymore. I make my way through the next section, which is just the whole village, killing monster Miis as I go along. I get to where the Megamycete is, where I find another Miranda lab with an insane amount of lore again. Basically, Miranda was making copies of Rose to try and create a vessel to bring her daughter back, who died a long time ago to the Spanish flu. But she can't really do that with the real Rose because Rose's powers are stopping the fusion, or reincarnation maybe, from working. I walk only a tiny bit further before finding the real purifying crystal. It sucks the powers out of me, and lo and behold, Miranda shows up. I'm not sure how she's even here, but I guess it's something about how all who are infected with the Megamycete, they're connected forever, I guess? Oh well. So Miranda shows up, but before she can get me, Ethan shows up again and tells me to run. We run from Miranda until it leads us to doing the final battle with her, but this time with Rose. Oh, and Rose got her powers back at some point because Ethan was getting his ass ate, so Rose threw the crystal on the ground, breaking it, and then it kind of released her powers back to her. Anyways, I just wanted to point out that the only reason why we did this in the first place was to get rid of our powers, but in the end we just take them back anyways, fully kind of defeating the purpose of the entire DLC, but okay. And I know it's supposed to be some story about accepting who you are or something and have some nice moments with our dad, but seriously? Oh, and Miranda told us that it was actually her whole plan for me to get rid of my powers so that the fusion reincarnation thing would work. Anyways, the boss battle was pretty easy. Just dodge your attacks and land your own and you win. With that, we beat the game on the casual difficulty. Right after that, I went ahead and beat it again, except on hardcore to get the achievement for that and the one for standard. No reason to show you any of that, it's literally the exact same thing, except it just takes more shots to kill things.
Right. That should be the last 2 achievements, baby.
Now that should be every single achievement for Resident Evil 8. However, it was then that disaster struck. Why am I missing 2 achievements? What am I missing? Defeat your eyes during the first Lycan attack when you enter... Oh, shit. Well, then what's the other one? Finish the story without spending more than 10,000 lei? Ah, fuck. Dude, I have to do the whole story again? Yep, so I had completely skipped over 2 achievements. Killing Urias during the horde at the beginning was easy enough, since I had the Magnum with unlimited ammo, but Frugal Father requires me to beat the entire base game again, but without spending more than 10,000 lei. Or lei? I don't know how you say it. So, I beat the entire game again, making sure to kill Urias at the beginning, and I never once even opened the merchant shop, netting me the actual final achievement for the game. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, I sincerely appreciate you following through. I have other games that I want 100%, so I will have more videos in the future. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and leave me a comment giving me ideas for games you want to see me 100%, or even if you have 100%ed some games yourself. With that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, that took a while.